Okay, I was literally a sliver away from level 21 on my Necromancer, so I just went and killed a grub outside of the main city? Fuck, what's it called? The Black Citadel. So I'm to the north. We're gonna go over specializations as I have tended to do as my classes hit level 21 and they get unlocked. So here we go. The first specialization is Spite, and the first skill or trait or whatever is a Reaper's Might. Shroud skills. Shroud skill 1 grants Might. That might last for 15 seconds. So when you enter Shroud, you use Shroud skill 1, which I think is gonna be your like repeat attack. You're just gonna like keep going off, I think. Okay, Death Shroud. Yeah, it's a 1 second cooldown, so it's, yeah, 1 second cast time with no cooldown. So this is your spammable, and it pierces, and gives might. So every 1 second you're getting a 15-second might. So it's just gonna stack and stack and stack. It's a pretty good start, honestly. It makes me want to pop in and out of Shroud often, really. Next one, Spiteful Talisman. Deal increased strike damage to foes with no boons. Focus and axe skills recharge faster, which is perfect for my build. So 10% damage increase against targets with no boons, which is awesome. And recharge rate 20% faster. Love it. I think I'm gonna go Spite, yeah, Spite Tree, honestly. So Spiteful Renewal, consume conditions to gain health when you use a healing skill. You will heal 44 at this level, 44 per condition removed. 5-second internal cooldown, but it's when you use a healing skill, and I don't think there's any healing skills that have less than that, so it's pretty much every time. So yeah, remove all of your healing skills if you use this one, because it's one of the 3 you can choose from in the first kind of tree branch area. Good if you're expecting to get conditioned a lot. Next one is Bitter Chill. Chilling a foe inflicts vulnerability, 3 stacks for 8 seconds. The next non-choice, you just get this, as long as you keep getting these, unlocking these skills and you're in that tree. Death's Embrace. You deal increased strike damage when you're downed. Okay. Inflict vulnerability when you strike a foe below the health threshold. I think those are separate things. So if I'm downed, I do 25% more damage with my strike abilities. Strike damage. If I am hitting something, I don't think this cares if I'm downed or not, but if I'm hitting something that has less than 50% health, yeah, then I'll inflict 5 stacks of vulnerability for 8 seconds. There is a 10-second interval, and I think that's for the vulnerability, probably not for the increased strike damage when you're downed. So this gives you something to help a little bit when you're downed, but I think mostly it's going to be used for helping to finish off less than 50% monsters a little faster by inflicting that 5% increased, damage incoming. And yeah. The next of the 3 choice kind of area things is Chill of Death. Cast lesser spinal shivers on a foe when attacking them while their health is below 50%. And what lesser spinal shivers does, with a 20-second internal cooldown, so this can only happen once every 20 seconds on foes below 50%, is chill your target and remove up to 3 boons, dealing extra damage based on the number of boons removed. So 3 boons does 324 damage, 2 boons 231. This is all at this level, these power, whatever. 1 boon 139, no boons 92. So pretty good increases, with like the most drastic ones being from 1 to 2 and then 2 to 3. 2 to 3 for sure is the biggest one. Chill for 5 seconds, can remove up to 3 burns, cannot crit. The next of the 3 choices is Awaken the Pain. Might grants you more power and less condition damage. Grants you more power and less okay, interesting. Interesting, I've never seen something like that before. That's crazy. Okay. And you gain might when you enter Shroud. So if we're popping in and out of Shroud, you gain might for 5 stacks for 5 seconds just entering Shroud. And then you will, with Reaper's Might, the first thing, automatically get another 15 seconds of might with, according to this, more power and less condition damage, which is fine for the most part, I think. Okay, interesting. And the last of the 3 choices for this little branch is Signets of Suffering. When you use a Signet, they remove boons from the affected foe, so they'll remove 2 boons. The third, so wait, hold on, 1, 2, yeah, the third, like, you just get this as long as you keep going in this tree, is Siphoned Power. You gain might when you strike a foe below the health threshold of 50%. You'll gain, so it's a 1 second internal cooldown, so you're going to be stacking the shit out of this. So if you're attacking, you're like, apparently Necromancer, the Spite tree, is super good for anything less than half health. You're going to be doing massive awesomeness. So you gain 3 stacks for 8 seconds, and you can stack that with this whole Awaken the Pain thing. So you can just be a might powerhouse. And then the last 3 here, you get a choice of one of these. So Dread, 3-second internal cooldown. Inflicting fear on a foe gives you boons. Shroud skill 3 partially recharges when you defeat foes. Okay, so you will gain 5 seconds. You'll gain 5 seconds of quickness, so basically like kind of a haste thing, and 10 seconds of fury, which is a crit chance thing. When you inflict fear, and anytime you defeat a foe, Shroud skill 3 will recharge 50%. Let me just check that out again here. So that is fear. So Shroud, inflict fear on your foe. 20-second cooldown. So anytime you kill something, and fear is 2 seconds, involuntary retreat, unable to act, stacks. If you can inflict more fear, the duration is what increases. And the damage is negligible, so it's barely worth talking about. But you could be fearing a lot. You could be giving yourself quickness and fury a lot. As long as you... this is a lot jumping in and out of Shroud. Or maybe even... yeah, being in Shroud... oh, yeah, kind of jumping in and out. Close to death is 2 out of the 3 choices here. Deal increased strike damage to enemies below the health threshold of 50%. 20% increased strike damage. And last choice here is Spiteful Spirit. Cripple nearby foes and convert their boons into conditions. Gain... and you also... okay. Gain resolution for each foe you strike. Converts additional boons on foes below the health threshold. So you'll also strike around you when you enter Shroud. That's just another little thing. So damage 146 at this level.
Hey.
If you'll convert those additional boons if the target is below 50%.
Oh, hey.
Resolution 3 seconds, cripple 5 seconds, boons remove 2. You can remove up to 2 more boons if they're below 50%. 5 targets, can't crit. 600 range, so it's not a bad range. The next tree, Curses. Barbed Precision. Critical hits have a chance to cause bleeding, increases bleed duration. So 33% chance when you crit to cause 3 seconds of bleeding, and all bleeds that you do are 20% longer. That you just get that automatically. You know, it's not a choice, you just get it. If you choose this tree, obviously. Insidious Disruption is one of the first 3 choices you get. Disabling a foe inflicts torment on them. So this would go along pretty well with Fear, Cripple. I think, yeah. Sorry, no. Stun, Daze, Knockback, Pull, Knockdown, Sink, Float, Launch, Taunt, and Fear. Launch is a disable? Knockback is a disable? Those aren't really like... what are they just... they're just pushed. How are they disabled? Whatever. And it's 5 seconds of torment. Anytime, there's no cooldown, so anytime you inflict, yeah. Plague Sending, the second choice, is your first attack after entering Shroud transfers conditions. So it'll transfer 2 conditions, if you have them, to the target on the first attack. Chilling Darkness is the third choice. Blinding a target will also apply chill for 2 seconds with a 3-second internal cooldown. The second you just get it thingy is Furious Demise. You gain Fury when entering Shroud for 8 seconds. Which is cool. Gain additional precision just always. So 54 precision all the time. And then the first of the next 3 choices, Master of Corruption. Corruptions gain reduced recharge time and inflict additional conditions on you. I don't know these things well, so I don't know what they all are. But I think you can inflict on yourself 5 stacks of vulnerability for 4 seconds, 2 stacks of torment for 10 seconds, a cripple for 2 seconds, 2 stacks of bleeding for 10 seconds, weakness for 6 seconds, or poison for 4 seconds, depending on what corruption you use. I think that's maybe part of the corruption training here. Yeah, these look like the same symbols I saw just a second ago in this whole curses thing. So, sorry, I really don't know much more. The second of the 3 choices of this group is Path of Corruption. Shroud Skill 2 now additionally converts boons into conditions. So it'll convert 2. And Shroud Skill 2 is an 8-second cooldown. Send out a claw. If it hits a foe, it inflicts bleeding and chill on nearby foes, and you may cast Dark Pursuit to Shadow Step to the initial target. Okay, whatever. Anyway, and then the last of these 3 choices in this group is Parasitic Contagion. A percentage of your condition damage heals you. 5%.
Hey.
Oh. Honestly, of these 3 choices, if I were to go curses, I would choose the last one.
Oh, hey.
5% of condition damage is maybe not a lot, but it also depends on the weapons you're using and all sorts of things. And then in this tree, the third, you just get it. Is Target the Weak. Increases critical hit chance for each condition on the foe. 2% increase per condition. Gain condition damage based on your precision. So you will gain 13% condition damage. So 13% of your current precision will also be moved to your condition damage bonus. Okay. And then the last group of 3 choices. Weakening Shroud is you cast a 10-second cooldown. You cast Lesser Enfeeble when you enter Shroud. Critical hits, just standalone. Critical hits inflict weakness for 5 seconds. Those are 2 different things. So 10-second internal cooldown on probably the weakness thing, actually, more than the Lesser Enfeeble. So Lesser Enfeeble is just, if you're popping in and out of Shroud, you should just be able to do this, but I think there's a cooldown on popping in and out. So Lesser Enfeeble is in a radius of 240. You'll bleed and weaken nearby foes. You'll do 231 damage at this current level and power stuff. 2 stacks of bleeding for 10 seconds. Weakness for 6 seconds. 5 targets can't crit. Choice number 2 in this group, Terror. Fear you inflict deals damage each second. That is cool, because it goes along with the... Well, with Insidious Disruption for sure. Is it this tree or the previous tree that the fear reduction on? Yeah, I think it was the previous tree. And the last, third choice here, it says at this current level 98 damage per second when the target is feared by you. And then the third choice is Devouring Darkness and Lingering Curse. But let's see. Devouring Darkness, you corrupt boons from enemies around your target. Inflict torment and gain life force for each condition on your initial target. Okay. Up to the threshold, gain extra life force for each extra foe struck. So, you do 178 damage at this current level in power. Torment per condition is 4 seconds. And I believe additional... Yeah. Additional stacks don't increase the power, they increase the duration, I think of it. Torment? I'm not sure. I will convert 3 boons into conditions, gain 8% life force, gain an additional 1% life force per condition, gain additional 2% life force per foe, 5 targets, up to 5 conditions, probably total, but maybe per foe, I'm not sure. Maybe 5 total. Radius 360 with a range of 900. And then Lingering Curse that's applied here. Your condition damage is increased. Conditions inflicted by... Oh, so that's the starter. So your condition damage is increased, so you get 43 there at this current level in power. Conditions inflicted by Scepter skills have longer durations, and Feast of Corruption becomes Devouring Darkness. Is Feast of Corruption a Shroud thing? Nope. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a Scepter? It's a Scepter? Hold on. It is. So your Scepter skill gets improved by making it AoE. Yeah, it makes it AoE and does some extra stuff. Okay, cool. Interesting. So this is... It hasn't really been a Scepter only tree, but if you go Scepter, it does... This choice does make Scepters 10-second cooldown. Number 3 is pretty better. Death Magic is the next group, 3 of 5. I'm trying to make this... It's going to be long. Sorry, they always are. So Armored Shroud. Gain Carapace when entering Shroud. Death's Carapace, it says 5 stacks, 10 seconds, 29 toughness total? I don't know what Carapace really is, honestly. It's the first time I've heard that in this game. But toughness reduces damage taken, so... Okay. And then the first of 3 choices here, in the first kind of branch is Flesh of the Master. Minions have increased health. Gain Carapace for each minion you control. So I just have a flat... What's the math here? Is it roughly... I think it's like 5.75, whatever. So gain... So this is 5 stacks of Carapace, which equals 29 toughness. This is 2 stacks of Carapace, which is 11 toughness. So somewhere in the range of 5.5 to... I don't know what the rounding is. Because 5.5 times 5 is 25, plus 2.5 is 27.5, so maybe it's like 5.75, but it's rounded some way. I don't know, maybe rounded down, I don't know. So yeah, so each minion gives me 2 Carapace, it looks like. So you take less damage the more minions you have out. And my minions' health are increased by 50% each, that's pretty cool. I like minions. I like having a lot of pets, it's just a thing. Future Defense is the second choice here. Poison damage is increased. Applying poison grants Carapace. So 15% increased damage for poison that you inflict, and every poison you inflict should give you 10 seconds of the Carapace for 5 toughness each. Shrouded Removal, the third choice here. Lose a condition when you enter Shroud and every few seconds while you remain in Shroud. Gain Carapace when removing conditions from yourself. So for every condition you remove, you get 3 stacks of Death's Carapace for even more toughness. Is this why I've seen like focuses or foci, whatever, with toughness vitality to like be like a Necro Tank? Anyway, every condition you remove with an interval of 3 seconds, and immediately when you enter Shroud, it's going to give you 3 stacks of Carapace for 10 seconds each. Stacking up that toughness. Alright. What is it? Okay. Do I have toughness in here? Let me just see real quick. I know I do. I just don't remember where it is here. Where are you? Where are you? It's not. Oh. Increases armor. It just says reduces incoming damage. It doesn't tell you how much you reduce, so I was hoping it would say something there. Cool. And then our next, you just get it thingy is Soul Comprehension. Your passive life force generation from nearby deaths is increased. I didn't even know I had that in the first place, but awesome. Kills grant... Oh, life force. Yeah, oh yeah, I knew that. Sorry, I thought it was like health. Okay. Kills grant carapace. When you enter Shroud, gain life force per stack of carapace. Okay. When you enter Shroud, you gain life force. Okay, that's cool. So, each kill gives 1 stack of carapace, 10 seconds. I get 20% more life force generation from deaths around me. And I gain 0.5% of life force for each stack of carapace on me when I enter the Shroud. Okay. So, the next grouping of 3, the first one is Necromancer Corruption. Minions deal more damage and take conditions from you. When a minion attacks, it transfers conditions to its target. That's fun. 10-second cooldown per minion. So this is possibly a reason I see people running around with so many of those little minions that don't really do much damage, except for like if you explode them, and even then it's not that much. But this can definitely explain that. Per minion, for sure. They'll transfer 1 condition every 10 seconds, it looks like. They deal 25% more damage, just straight up. That's cool. Okay. Maybe every 10 seconds they'll take a condition, and in that same 10 seconds they'll transfer a condition. That's kind of what it seems like. Second choice, Dark Defiance. If you are disabled, gain protection. Incoming condition damage is reduced while you have protection. It seems like a 20-second internal cooldown. Condition damage reduction is 20%. And protection for 3 seconds when I'm disabled, but again, 20-second internal cooldown. Second choice, Deadly Strength. Wait, no. Third choice? Oh, it's third choice, sorry. So second choice is Dark Defiance. First choice was the minions dealing more damage and taking conditions. Honestly, I like that one the best right now. Third choice, Deadly Strength. Carapace stacks grant power. Uh-oh, that's a contender. And condition damage. So 10 power and 10 condition damage per carapace. That's a contender with the minions thing, but I don't know. We'll see. Alright, and the third non-negotiable, you just get it, is Beyond the Veil. Take reduced condition damage while at or above the threshold of carapace stacks, and that threshold is 10. So as long as you have 10 carapace stacks, you take 10% less condition damage. You're tankier. Alright, and the last grouping of 3 for this particular tree is Death Nova and Poison Nova. That's kind of the same thing. So let's see. Okay. When you or one of your minions is downed, create a Poison Nova. Summon a Jagged Horror when you kill a foe. I think those are 2 different things. Jagged Horrors, you can have up to 5. You can't summon more than 3 seconds. They last for 30 seconds. Wow. If you're killing... Wow, okay. I wonder if these count towards all the pet shit, because that's... And then Poison Nova, when you or a minion is downed, there's no internal cooldown, but, I mean, how often are you getting downed, I guess? Explosion damage 185 at this current level in power. Poison for 5 seconds. Number of targets 5. Pulses 3 times. Awesome. Duration 4 seconds. So, I'm assuming each pulse will give poison and explosion damage, but I have no idea. Interval 2 seconds. Oh, so it's pulse, pulse, pulse. Those are like pulse, 1, 2, pulse, 1, 3, 4, pulse. Radius 240, combo field poison, unblockable. Second choice, Corruptor's Fever. Inflicting a condition on a foe grants carapace. Gain pulsing protection while at or above the carapace threshold. So you gain 10 seconds of carapace when you inflict a condition. Protection. So every 3 seconds, you'll get 3 seconds of protection, which is 33% reduced damage taken. Carapace threshold 25, however, so this is like getting up there, son. So Death Nova is doing a lot more damage because you keep summoning these Jagged Horrors. Carapace's fervor is you take a lot less damage because you get protection every 3 seconds like a boss. And Unholy Sanctuary, choice 3, regenerate, it's a 30-second internal cooldown, regenerate health while in Shroud. If your life force is above the threshold of 10%, your Shroud will activate if you would take a lethal blow. Interesting. In the interval's one. Okay, so you heal 2% of your total health every second that you are in Shroud. Interesting. So maybe this is a way to, like, you just go into Shroud. Interesting. Okay. Fourth tree, blood magic. Stick with me, I'm sorry. Mark of evasion. Leave a mark of blood when you dodge, in combat only. The lesser mark of blood is a mark. Inscribe a mark that bleeds foes when they trigger it and grants regeneration to allies. The radius is 240, so they have to be kind of near you. Damage 231 at this level. Regen 5 seconds. Bleeding 8 seconds, 2 stacks. Number of targets 5. So I'm thinking that will regen 5 targets and damage and bleed 5 targets. I think that's what I'm getting out of this. And then the first of 3 choices here is Ritual of Life. Cast Lesser Well of Blood when reviving an ally. Wells of Blood revive allies every pulse. 2% revive percentage for these things. And the Lesser Well of Blood, summon a Well of Blood. Okay, so it'll heal nearby allies in a 240 radius for 295 at this current level, and blah blah blah. With an additional 31 at this level, blah blah blah. Regen for 2 seconds with 6 stacks. Number of targets 5, duration 5 seconds. Cool. So it's all about trying to heal and revive. It only pops up when you're trying to revive something, so you can't just do it. It's a 30-second internal cooldown, by the way, so it's not often. Second choice, Overflowing Thirst. Gain life force when you strike a foe with a dagger. 1% life force gain. And you strike foes with daggers pretty fucking quick, so you can regain life force pretty fast, on top of your other ways to regain it. Third choice is Lesser Signet of Blood Bond, which says cast Lesser Signet of Vampirism when you inflict bleeding on a foe that already has at least 3 stacks of bleeding. Which says Signet active, you will a 16-second internal cooldown. You mark a foe by inflicting another stack of bleeding in the area. Anyway, you get active life siphon damage of 37, active life siphon healing 30, vampiric mark for 6 seconds. Life is siphoned when struck by players. It's 5 stacks. Active life siphon cooldown 1 second. Range. Okay, that's complicated. But it's life siphoned. That's not health. Like, life and health are different things in this game, right? Because we have life force. Yeah. So I think anytime it says life, it's life force. But allied players siphon life. So I think they get heal. They get 30 healing every second they attack with the whole 6 second. The next you just get it thingy is vampiric. Siphon health whenever you hit a foe. Minions siphon health and transfer it to you. Oh my gosh. So health siphoning is 4 at this current level in power. Minions will lifesteal 14 and transfer it to me. They attack much slower, so that's kind of why it's higher. Sorry, they steal 14. They heal me for 9. And life siphon damage, so I'm doing an extra 5 damage as well. So that's choice 1. No, sorry, you just get it. My bad. And then the second grouping of 3 starts with Life from Death. Heal allies in an area when you exit Shroud. Increase healing to other allies. So at this current level in healing, 45 healing. Healing increase 10%. Number of targets 5, radius 360. Second choice is Banshee's Wail. Warhorn skills gain increased effect duration, 50% increased duration. And third choice is Vampiric Presence. You and your nearby allies siphon health with attacks, so just passive. This effect increases while in Shroud. So life siphon damage 11. everything that I say ever that I list a number is current, whatever. So 11 siphon damage, 22 while in Shroud, healing 3, 5 while in
Hey.
Shroud, vampiric aura for 9 seconds,
Huh?
siphon health when you hit, number of targets
Oh, hey.
5, lifesteal interval every half second, radius 600. Cool. And then our last grouping of 3 choices is last rites. As long as you are not downed, allies near you do not bleed out if they are downed. Gain healing power based on your current health. Interesting. So 9 seconds. You do not lose health while downed. Does it only last? No, oh, it's an interval of 3 seconds. Okay. So as long as I'm within a certain range of a downed thing, they will have 9 seconds. Like it pulses every 3 seconds, but just like the healing mist thingy on the elementalist with the water and that tree, it pulses every 3 seconds. So a downed player will not lose any health while they are downed for 9 seconds if I pulse them. And then my healing power is, if I'm above 75% health, 32. If I'm below 75% health, 64. If I'm below 50% health, 96. Yeah. And then our next choice of, or sorry, our last like grouping of 3 choices, got Blood Bank. Gaining health grants a proportionate amount of barrier. Conversion amount increases while at full health. So, if I gain health, I gain 10% of that health as a barrier. If I am full health, when I gain health, I gain 20%. Oh no, I gain everything. It looks like I gain 100% as a barrier in combat only. Healing conversion rate, full health healing. Yes, that's what it looks like to me. It's either saying it increases it to 20% because that's 100% increase from 10%, or it's saying the conversion rate when you're at full health is 100% of whatever you healed for. So just keep stacking barrier. Second choice, Unholy Martyr. Entering Shroud. So like, this is kind of like this tree along with Death Magic makes a decent like combination of like tanking. But also this has a lot of good healing options too to provide that kind of benefit to your group. Second choice of the last 3 is Unholy Martyr. Entering Shroud transfers conditions from allies to you. Exiting Shroud consumes conditions currently on you and converts them to life force. Cool. This is like more of a healing thing. So you transfer 5 conditions. When you exit Shroud, you'll consume 3 conditions and gain 7% life force per condition consumed. Number of targets up to 5, radius 600. And lastly, Transfusion. Shroud skill 4 heals and partially revives nearby allies. Up to 5 nearby downed allies are teleported to you upon using Shroud skill 4. So it'll pulse 9 times, giving 2% revival per pulse. It'll heal 24 each pulse. Number of targets 5, radius 600, teleport distance 600. And then Shroud skill 4 is damage nearby
Hey.
foes and steal their life force with a 25-second cooldown.
Huh?
It'll inflict bleed, it'll give life force. So
Oh, hey.
this is going to damage everything in a 600 range, bleed them 9 stacks for 2 seconds in a 600 range, give me life force for each target struck, I believe. It's 9 times. So in 3 seconds, you're doing 9 pulses of damage, which I think that's why there's 9 stacks of bleeding. So it's over time, it will do that 9 stacks. It looks like 5 targets, blah, blah, blah. So you're damaging, you're pulsing, you're also healing and reviving. Interesting. That was the last one, right? In that tree? Okay, cool. The last tree is Soul Reaping. Bear with me, we're almost done. You just get it. Number 1 here is Gluttony. Increase the amount of life force gained from all sources, so 10%. Cool. The first of the first 3 choices is Unyielding Blast. So Shroud skill 1 inflicts vulnerability. That's your every 1 second you're casting this. So 2 stacks of vulnerability for 10 seconds. You can start off a fight with that and add it up. Number 2 choice is soul marks. Marks become unblockable and generate life force when triggered. So they'll generate 3% life force, unblockable. Third choice is speed of shadows. Entering Shroud grants swiftness and removes movement impairing conditions. So 10 seconds of swiftness, and you remove cripple, chilled, and immobilized. I didn't mean that. Your next, you just get it skill or passive is Sinister Shroud. Shroud skills gain reduced recharge, so you can use them more often. So 15% more often. The first of the next 3 choices is Soul Barbs. Soul Barbs. Entering or exiting Shroud increases all damage you deal for a duration for 15 fucking seconds. So if you're popping, damn, so 10% more damage you deal across the board when you pop in to or pop out of Shroud for 15 seconds each time. That's insane. Awesome. Okay. And there's other things that I've read that say like popping in and out of Shroud is also good luck. That's cool shit. Second choice here is Vital Presence. You gain Vitality, and your damage, your heal. So you gain 38 Vitality again at this level, and your incoming health is increased by. So incoming healing is increased by 20%. So this is like your tank choice. The first one is like your definitely your damage choice. And then the third choice here is Fear of Death. Your fear effects have increased duration. There's a 5-second internal cooldown on it. Inflicting fear generates life force. So, fear can last 100% longer, so it's doubled. And when you inflict fear, you get 15% of your life force. Cool. Like it, love it. Again, I think both of those are probably once every 5 seconds. Or maybe just the life force, I'm not sure. I don't know how many fear things you have you can spam. But this is like a crowd control. So you have your damage, you have your tankiness, you have your crowd control. Your third and final, you just get this thingy, is Soul Battery. Maximum life force is increased by 20%. And then our last grouping of 3 choices is Eternal Life. Gain life force every interval, so every second, up to the threshold, which is 66%. When not in Shrouds, you just get this. It just does it. Like when you're out of combat, in combat, whatever. So you gain 3% life force every, and gain protection when you enter Shroud. So probably good as a tanky thing, but like just this is also just nice to have for that life force, like passive life force generation up until 2/3.
Oh,
And they have to. Anyway, interesting. Death Perception, second choice here. Gain increased critical strike chance, so probably your damage dealing choice here, which is a 15% increase. Oh my god. Wow. And then gain increased critical strike damage when you're in Shroud of another 15% damage increase. And then your last choice ever in the end of this video is DHUUM Fire, Doom Fire, Doom. Shroud skill 1, which is your spammy, inflicts burning on your target for 3 seconds. That seems kind of lackluster, but I'd probably take the fucking crit chance over that. Anyway, that is a noob's perspective on all of the Necromancer specializations and the choices there. I'm definitely going to start with Spite, but there are some really good choices in the other trees. So when I say definitely, I guess I'm not sure. The sponsor, non-sponsor for this video is HOMCA Memory Foam Cervical Pillow. It gives you options to sleep on your back with like a good divot in the middle, but still some padding underneath you for neck positioning. Sleep on your side with like raised sides, so it's kind of like a valley with hills on the sides, more or less. And I also, if I'm sleeping on my stomach, I can also sleep on the sides because, for me, my chest, my stomach, etc., puts me at a height high enough where my neck isn't like one way or another. So If you purchase it with a link in my description, I'll get a small cut. Hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something as I did. I'll see you next time. Bye.